So today I want to talk about staying motivated for your routine, for showing up, maybe your early morning routine, maybe your, after work workout routine, whatever it is. How do you continue to show up on the days that you're not motivated? Because I hate to tell you that you're not always going to be motivated. I know we've talked about this the last day or so, but that's the thing is if we relied on motivation, we're not going to make a lot of progress. And if you've relied on needing to be motivated to go to the gym or needing to be motivated to take the dog for a WALK, she's right over there. It's not going to be consistent. And that's where the routine helps you. That's where creating that discipline and sticking to it and going through those things of habit stacking, that helps you. But here are some other things that I want to talk about today. How to stay motivated and stay consistent, some strategies to kind of overcome some of that procrastination and the self-doubt. I feel like those things go hand in hand, whether we realize it or not. I think often we procrastinate because of self-doubt, because of things that we're thinking about. And I also want to kind of walk you through a couple tools that I use to stay on track and keep myself accountable. I want to start by recommending to you that you have a really clear understanding of why you're doing this. What is so much of a struggle for you that if you show up and get this done, it will just make your life easier. You will feel better. Maybe it's because if you lose these 15 pounds, you're going to feel better. It'll be easier for you to chase after your kids. You will, feel a certain way. And you're tired of complaining about not feeling good. You're tired of complaining about, I wanted to lose the weight or whatever. You're just tired of this place that you are in. And sometimes just trying to get out of the place that you're in is a why enough. And sometimes we need a bigger why. My challenge to you is to come up with a why that is actionable and connected enough to you, because sometimes I think we have these thoughts of like, I want to be healthier for my kids. I want to be healthier for my kids too, right? But sometimes it feels so far away that it doesn't impact the small decisions that we're making in our daily life. So what if I want to be healthier for my kids so that I have more energy is also because when I take daily actions that they see, they are probably going to duplicate that behavior, whether it's grabbing a bag of chips and going to the sofa or it's chugging my pre-workout and working out, right? Like they see those things. And so think about those things, like, what do you want your children to see you doing? So maybe think about it like that, okay? The other thing that I want you to think about to kind of help you keep your motivation mojo going is to celebrate the small wins. I feel like so often we feel so far away. I talked a little bit in the last video about the gap and the gain that let me back up. It usually takes us more effort and more time to hit the goals that we want to hit. More effort and more time than we think that it's going to take, right? So the benefit of creating your routine to follow through and do these things is that you're tracking what you're doing, you're measuring your results, you're measuring your action that you're taking so that it gives you some science to figure out how's this working or how's it not working. No matter what, if all you're doing is tracking your one specific measurement, like you want to lose 5 pounds and you haven't lost your 5 pounds yet, you haven't even lost 1 pound, it feels defeating. It feels like it's not working, right? And when we're saying to ourselves things like, this isn't working, I'm wasting my time, why bother? How motivating is that for you to show up at your workout on Monday? Not very, because we react to the thoughts that we're telling ourselves. And if you think about, this is a really simple breakdown of the things that I work really deeply on with the team that I mentor, is this think, feel, do, act cycle, right? We think things based on our circumstances, right? So your circumstance, let's say you've been working out for a week, you haven't lost any weight. The thoughts that you might have around that are those, it's not working, I'm frustrated, da 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 da. It leads to how you're feeling, defeating, frustrating, all sorts of not positive emotions. And then it leads to the action or inaction, deciding like maybe this just isn't it, right? And then the results that you are hoping this action leads to don't happen because you decide to stop showing up. You decide to not be consistent, right? Whereas when you start tracking your daily wins every single day, you're reminding yourself, okay, well, today I got my workout in. I drank my water. I got 8 hours of sleep. Like, what's up? What's happening? Right? It doesn't have to be just health related. Maybe it's, I I felt better today. I had more energy today. And when you start tracking those daily wins, those are the mile markers to create the results that you're looking for. Okay. So then when you just, instead of once a week weighing in, you have all of these other things that you're like, well, wait a second. At the end of a week, if I do this every day, that's 21 things that I crushed this week because of the routine, because I decided to show up. That makes you feel a little bit better. It makes you feel a little bit more accomplished. And when you're feeling accomplished and when you're feeling proud of yourself, the action that you take is a lot different than the action that you take when you're feeling frustrated, when you're feeling defeated, right? The action that you take is, hey, maybe you continue on with your workout. That is the benefit of writing down those small wins every day. That's why I suggest that to everyone. It's not a new concept, right? But if you've heard that before, that's really where it applies when you want something really big and really long term. The other thing is that it helps you to think differently. Okay. And I know we talked yesterday about training your neural pathways in your brain to think differently. When you're creating a habit, you start creating these new neural pathways. Something else happens in our brain. And here's another way that you can train your brain. When we say things out loud, or sometimes we just think things, when we ask our brain a question, it's really good at seeking out answers. Here's an example. When you say to your brain, find something blue in the room, all of a sudden your eyes start like finding all of the blue things. You might not have even noticed that there were blue things in the room before. It also works in the way of like, this isn't working. When you say those thoughts and your brain just starts listing out all the ways that it's not working, right? That's the reticular activation system in your brain. It's your brain figuring out the answers. So what if instead of having those thoughts of this isn't working, what if you started asking yourself better questions like, in what ways is this working? How is this going well? And your brain will spit out answers to you. I know it seems insane. It seems really woo-woo. There's science behind it. That is the science of these affirmations that people talk about that you might think are really woo-woo. No, you're creating new neural pathways in your brain and you're training your brain how to find things that work for you. And when you're in a positive headspace like that, you show up, you have more energy, you're more clear-headed, and you get more done in less time, right? So there's much more of a benefit to trying to focus on your mindset than just like being happy all the time. Happier people get more stuff done because you're more clear-headed, because you're not clouded with anxiety and self-doubt and fear, right? I think the other thing, just briefly, I know this video has gone a little bit long, in talking about procrastinating and pushing things off. The biggest reason I see people push things off and procrastinating, myself, I say like, my mom has complained about me being a procrastinator my entire life. And it's usually because I was creating this story in my brain of everything that I needed to do. I didn't want to go to the DMV to get this done because I had to like print off all this stuff and I didn't know what it was. And oh my gosh, I'm going to have to sit in line for so long. Well, it turns out the last time I went to the DMV, by the way, it took me 15 minutes. Besides that, we do the same thing when we start a new project, when we start a new workout routine, when we start the new things. Another reason I say start small, start adding things in one thing at a time. We start listing off all of the things that we need to do. Then we need a meal prep, and then I have to grocery shop, and then, oh my gosh, what if a kid eats my lunch? Then I'm gonna have to like meal prep again, and then I'm gonna have to start working out, and then what if I'm sore? I don't know what to do. I need new workout clothes. Like our brain just starts like freaking out. and spitting out all of the things that we need to do. Going back to ask your brain a question, I'll give you answers, right? That's like your brain on overdrive. Whereas instead, what if you just asked, well, what's my first step? Instead of going from 0 to 60 and thinking, well, what if I can't keep up with this for 3 weeks? Keep up with it one day at a time. One day at a time, one workout at a time, one meal at a time, one decision about what you're doing and how you're spending your next 15 minutes at a time, instead of all of the things all at once. That's why I think we push it off, is because we think we're not qualified. We're not somebody that works out. We're not somebody that has a routine. We can't do this. We've never done it before. Prove it to yourself one day at a time, because every single day that you show up, every decision that you make gets you one step closer to the end result that you are looking for. And that first step qualifies you for the second step, qualifies you for the third step. And while in the beginning you were freaking out about step 317, you'll get there one step at a time. Okay. So think small. Remember why you are doing this every day, and write down your small wins every day. And I promise you, it will keep you going longer. And that is the motivation that you create, not just waiting for a feeling. You create your motivation internally by doing those things every single day.